has tested you, my brother. Now let's see what God has to say. I've dealt with far darker shadows than you, exiled. I exiled an animal. Now you almost resemble a man, Garrowing. I offered the gift of exile, and you used it to reinvent yourself. I couldn't wish for a more potent instrument. It is woman's purpose to tempt and try the will of man. Welcome to the greatest of arenas, duelist. God is watching. You'd bite the master that called you here, which? This world is an illusion, exile. It is time you saw what real sacrifice is. Of God! Tested you, my brother. Now let's see what God has to say. I've dealt with far darker shadows than you, exiled. I exiled an animal. Now you almost resemble a man, Garrowing. I offered the gift of exile, and you used it to reinvent yourself. I couldn't wish for a more potent instrument. It is woman's purpose to tempt and try the will of man. Welcome to the greatest of arenas, duelist. God is watching. You'd bite the master that called you here, which? This world is an illusion, exile. It is time you saw what real sacrifice is. Of God! stood between man and nightmare. Will you take my place, exile?
What drives you, exile? Is it justice? Revenge? Honor? No. It is power. We felt your deeds. Felt their shockwaves ripple through the void. You have our attention. Now you must keep it. Your limits will be tested. The stars themselves will bear silent witness. How far will you bend before you break? Is it justice? Revenge? Honor? No. It is power. You have our attention. Now you must keep it. Your limits will be tested. Stars themselves will bear silent witness. How far will you bend before you break?
What's this? A real challenge? You've finally caught my attention. A fellow exile. One more fool under Zana's sway. Allow me to destroy you before she has a chance to betray you, too. At least, my way will be quick. You slew my friends! You brought ruin to my world! You have invaded my very center. I should be furious, and yet I feel nothing. How boring and small. Destroying you is as easy as flicking a pest. Did you really think this would work? I transcended all this long ago. Feel the thrill of
the void. Why run? What's the point? Your lives are meaningless. Watch UP crumble.
Hey guys, Dante here, back with another little video, and in this one I'll be showcasing the build that I'm currently playing. And why am I playing it? Because it's actually so freaking good. So this time we're playing a Lightning Strike Raider. Now this is a very interesting build because Raider is such a good ascendancy, and it's such a good place that you have high defensive capabilities, you got high movement speed, you got high attack speed, you got element immunity, like 50% element immunity, you got phasing and all that good stuff. So overall Raider is in a very good position right now, and I hope they don't nerf it in 3.16. So without further ado, let's get into it. So level 97 Raider, and basically we are playing with Lightning Strike, which is this skill right here. And we are going with Fire, Cold, Lightning attacks, so we can get benefit from Cinder Swallow, we get to Shatter from the Herald of Ice and all that good stuff. And yeah, as you saw in the video, it's very fast. It's got insane damage on single target, like we just melted those two Shaper Guardians landed that in an instant. The tricky thing about this is you need to find that sweet spot when you're killing a boss, right? When you're single target, you don't want to be on the boss because you then only get the damage from the strike. So you want to be like a little bit further away, so you get a few of those projectiles also hitting him. Okay, so you can see the damage fluctuates sometimes from like super high chunks to like not so super high chunks, but it's still pretty fine. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the gear. For the weapon, I am using a Imperial Claw with Essence Crafted Lightning damage. Then Ashling Unveiled Attack Damage Penetrate Elemental Resistances with a Fracture crit multiplier with T1 attack speed and T1 crit chance. Now how do you get this? Basically you get a claw with one of these fracture mod. You can either get Fracture attack speed, Fracture crit chance, Fracture crit multi, and then you just spam essences until you get some pretty good suffixes. And then You do suffix cannot be changed, reforge, suffix cannot be changed, ashling, and hopefully it removes the suffix cannot be changed, and you get the Ellie pen. And then you fill in the last one with lightning damage and chance to shock. Okay, this is a very expensive craft. This is a very expensive claw from what I've seen in the market. It's about between maybe 60 to 80x or something like that. If you want to go on the budget side and you don't want to start crafting and stuff like that, use a Paradoxica, and in the cluster jewels, which we'll get to that later, use sword clusters, okay? Get a Paradoxica, decent one, it should be fine. You get the best one is attack speed quality combined with attacks with this weapon penetrate elemental resistances. That Paradoxica is about 30-35x, so it is cheaper than the claw. I mean, you can improvise, figure it yourself out, okay? For the gloves, I am using a awakened skill strike, one additional nearby enemy with +1 frenzy, and got lucky, got the T2 cold rest, and then just multi-modded it with lightning and life. For the belt, I'm using the same belt that I used on my lightning arrow ice shot build. Life, damage against shield enemies, damage with attack skills, attack speed during Flask of Fit, attack damage during Flask of Fit, and lightning resist. How to craft this build, I explained it in the previous video. I have the link in the description. For the boots, it is double elevated onslaught and tailwind with a little life. Suffix cannot be changed. Suffix cannot be changed. Reforge crit, it guarantees you the elusive mod, and then you do suffix cannot be changed again, and you do ashling, and hopefully it removes the suffix cannot be changed and gives you the movement speed, and then you craft life, and you got yourself a GG pair of boots. For the ring, I am using a Mark of the Elder ring, nothing too fancy. And on this one, I am using a Shaper ring to get the benefit from the Elder unique mod, which is increased attack damage if your other ring is a Shaper item. So the other ring is a Shaper item. Ideally, you want cold damage to attacks against frozen enemies, life, and then in the suffixes, you want Assassin's Mark, and then res. Nothing too fancy here. This is very, very budget ring. Also, this is budget, this is budget. For the chest piece, we are using a Farul's Fur, which is the best in slot that gives you aspect of the cat has no reservation, and you gain your maximum frenzy and power charges when you get cat stealth, which is basically all the time. I'll get into that in a bit. This is also like very budget, it's like 5x, I think. Well, budget. For the amulet, I am using a Crusader amulet with damage penetration, lightning resistances, life, crit chance, and some res. This is also very not so expensive, I guess. The lightning pen and life is very hard to get, but then you can do like prefix cannot be changed, reforce crit to get crit multi, and then it will be more damage. But as you saw in the video, the damage is just fine. For the shield is a very, very basic shield, life, resist, aspect of the cat, and crafted, gain lightning damage is extra chaos. For the helmet, I am using a awakened orb. Nearby enemies take increased elemental damage from the Shaper mod, and nearby enemies have -9 lightning resistance from the Crusader mod. And then just got life, +1 AoE gems to boost our auras. As you can see, it's not very mind-blowing, except the weapon and the boots and the belt. Those are probably the most expensive things right here. So yeah, I didn't go very all in on this, like currency wise, trying to craft like double elevated gloves, or maybe get a +2 all max res shield with T1 life and stuff like that. It is very doable. It is very doable, but you don't really need it because the survivability of this build is so high and the tankiness is so insane. It's just not needed. You know, you got giga damage, you got giga sustain, you got giga survivability. I think this amount of investment is just fine. Okay, so that's the gear. Let's talk about the gems. In the claw, I'm using a Ancestral War Chief with Culling Strike, which basically is this, gives you attack speed. And we link to the Culling Strike just to like cheese off the 10% HP from the bosses. In the gloves, I am using increased duration, cast 1 damage taken, Immortal Call, and the Portal Gem. Nothing too fancy there. In the boots, I am using Awaken Unbound Element with Vortex and Bone Chill and Dash. This is a very bad setup because I'm hardly ever using it. I should probably put it on my movement button because I'm barely using this at any point in time, and I'm losing damage because I'm not using this. In the shield, I'm using whirling blades, faster attacks, and less duration. Why less duration? Because if we take less duration out, you see that as cat stealth is gonna has a longer duration for this, and there's a chance you drop your power charges like that. It just happened. You dropped your power charges. Now we put less duration in here, and then you basically have all the time. You have minimum 8 power charges and minimum 8 frenzies and 3 power charges. That's the thing with less duration. In the chest, we have the main attacks, which is what is it? Lightning Strike, a Val Lightning Strike, because it is freaking amazing. This one is a normal as well Lightning Strike. Link to Awaken added lightning damage, Divergent multi-strike, Nightblade support, I'll get into that in a bit, Divergent inspiration, and Awaken elemental damage for attack skills. Now, what is Nightblade? Nightblade support is very, very good because it gives you 1.1 critical strike chance while elusive, and you also get like 100 something crit multi. As you can see there on the second to the last line, elusive from skills also grant 140% to critical strike multiplier. That is insane. That is so huge. Like, you don't just get 140 crit multi, okay? So it's not that easy to get. So that is what I'm rolling. I could probably swap something for a Trinity since I'm doing all kinds of damage, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it, you know that saying. So yeah, in my helmet I'm using my auras because it has the +1 AoE gems. So I'm using Precision, Enlighten, Wrath, and Herald of Ice. Our mana cost is 7, and I have no problem sustaining it just from the -8 to mana cost here. So you shouldn't have any problem sustaining mana either. I'm not using any unique gems that jewels that give you non-channeling skills mana cost. Okay. So the flask, I'm using a life flask for corrupted blood. You could 100% replace this with a vessel of Vengtar if you get a corrupted blood immunity. Just a flask, Quicksilver flask. You could also replace this because you're so fast and Whirling Blaze is so good for mobility. Sirus Promise, Cinder Swallow with crit, and a Ball of Fate. Okay, nothing too fancy there. Let's get into the tree and let's get into the Ascendancy. We're going for Quartz Infusion, which gives you dodge and phasing, and this gives you 50% increase, avoid elemental elements while phasing. We have phasing all the time. Nearby enemies have fire, cold, lightning exposure while you are phasing, which is again all the time. So immediately they get -20 to resistances. And they also have less accuracy, which means that you have a better chance of surviving. And then for the second Ascendancy, we're going Frenzy Charge stacking for Way of the Poacher and Avatar of Slaughter, which gives you a lot of benefits for stacking Frenzies. Because we're stacking Frenzies, the tree that we follow is a very basic one. It's a very cookie cutter one. You go here, grab this for the int, you grab this for the element immunity if you want. You don't need this. You could invest these points somewhere else. Like, I am currently at 120. Avoid elemental elements, and I also have this from my belt enchant from while elusive, but I'm just too lazy to like respec. You get these shield nodes here, you get the life, you get the wind dancer, and then you get point blank, which is mandatory for like giga damage. And then you path over here, you get savagery for another frenzy, and then you take these nodes and you path over here, Disciple of Slaughter. And then you come back here and you get an intuitive leap, save you some points when picking up these nodes. I took these ones because I needed the accuracy. And then we get Acro and Phase Acro, another cluster, and then we take all of this life wheel except these three. And not life wheel, claw wheel. And then we take another frenzy, more life, and another jewel. Sorry. For the jewels, let's get into that. I'm using a Watcher's Eye with Precision and Wrath. This, I believe it is a bit expensive. I'm not too sure. It's about 5x, 5 to 8x, so it's not very expensive. This is very budget, and it's good because you get attack damage while Precision and critical strike chance while affected by Wrath, which is, I mean, auras. So, that is for the Watcher's Eye. Now, let's get into the clusters and the other jewel. For this large cluster, I am using claw attacks, deal 10% increased damage with hits and elements with calamitous, field of fight, and martial prowess. For the medians, I am using basics of pain, pressure points, quick getaway, pressure points, and a bunch of crit multi, life jewels, crit multi, life. That's basically all you want. Where I talked about the intuitive leap. On this large cluster, I am using a lightning damage with Storm Rider, Prismatic Heart, and Widespread Destruction. So basically we take Prismatic Heart for all resist and elite damage. Storm Rider, gain a power charge when you shock a chill enemy. That doesn't really matter because we have uptime of our power charges all the time. Increase cold damage and increase lightning damage. That's the big one. And Widespread Destruction, I didn't take it just to save points. It's not really that great for this build. And for the other mediums, I am using Basics of Pain, Precise Commander for some crit multi, and Basics of Pain, Pressure Points again for some movement speed. Again, life, crit multi, some attributes that you need. And for the last one, again, crit multi and some life. So yeah, that is the tree, that is the jewels. Now, let's hop into the POB real quick. So as you can see here, about like 27 million damage, but it's hard to calculate because how lightning strike works, you get the damage from the strike, and then you got the projectiles that overlap. There's like 3 or 4 hitting the boss depending on your positioning. There is damage from the Val lightning strike, and then you got the damage from your ancestral war chief. So in POB it says 27 million, but I'm probably going towards like the 50 million margin, something like that, because of all the overlapping, the damage and stuff like that. It's really hard to calculate. So you got projectiles for like 4.5, you got like 4 of those overlapping maybe, and you got the melee hit, and then you got the Val lightning. It's very difficult to calculate exactly, but let's just say like 27 million for POB's sake. In the configuration, I have here power and frenzy charges, which I talked about, that we have uptime of 100%. Onslaught, yes, from the Flask, phasing from our Ascendancy, Tailwind from the boots, Elusive from the boots, and also from the Nightblade. Consecrated Ground from the Bottle of Fate. Enemy is chilled, shock, and ignited from the triple damage. And the effective shock is like 40. You can see in the videos that we shock Sirus for about 40%, which is freaking good. And enemy and consecrated ground deals from the Bottle of Fate and Sirus damage. Sirus as a boss, and I activated Cat's agility, which is up like every almost up all the time. Like what, 3 seconds downtime or something like that. And effective bone chill is like 30%. If you want to put that in, it's like whatever. And that's about it. Like no secret POB warrior shenanigans, no nothing. Like I said, you can put like, I put a Vessel of Vengtar because this is actually what I want to use, right? The best Vessel of Vengtar that you can get is damage penetrate 6% lightning resistance. I am actually gonna swap my Quicksilver for this because the build is so fast that you don't need the Quicksilver. So this is gonna be the thing that I'm gonna go for, I think. So yeah, that is the build. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys found it interesting. It's not as crazy as some other builds that I posted, and it should be very doable without the claw, and you just get a Paradoxica, and instead of this cluster with the claw damage, you get swords, and you should be good to go. I think most builds on PO Ninja are using a Paradoxica, but the claw is such a good quality of life because you get so much value from this. It's ridiculous. So that's what I think about the build. I thoroughly enjoy it. It is a pleasure to play. I'm still not min-maxing it, obviously, but I think damage output and the survivability is also good enough. Oh, let me just hop into this. Like if you go to calculations, you can just see how tanky this build is. Like effective hit pool, like 41k in Fizz. That's huge. You got 200k in lightning, 160k in cold, 150 in fire, like 25k in chaos. It's really good. It's really solid. We are like dodge 75%, spell dodge 66%. It is a phenomenal build. It is phenomenal. So I strongly recommend you guys try this build, even try to find out even more budget builds and let me know in the comments. But yeah, that will be it for me for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I do plan to make one more build for the league. It's got the evidence over here. I'm not gonna spoil it. And yeah, as always, boys and girls and ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel. It would really help me and make my day. Until next time, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.